What's going on, folks? This is Steve Tucker here, and we are alongside Frankie Barroso here at Darlington Raceway. Man, race number 1 of the Harpoon Design Truck Series playoffs, and we're going to get it going tonight at the track Too Tough to Tame. Going to be a lot of fun. We're going to bring in Frankie right now. Frankie, dude, how's it going today, man?
Hello, I'm doing pretty good, Steve.
Love to hear it. Man, Darlington Raceway, what are your thoughts about this place?
Kind of just the nickname of it, the Lady in Black, Too Tough to Tame. Around here, you're more or less racing the track than your competitors for about, I would say, 85% of the time. So it's gonna be really interesting to see who has that clean air, who's got the track position, but also more importantly, who's got that better tire wear, who could save those tires, especially those right side tires. Let's see who can get it done on the long run.
Yes, sir. And hey, man, playoffs start tonight. We have 5 races to determine a champion of the Season 2 for the Harpoon Design Truck Series. Right now, we're watching qualifying. We have about 7 more minutes left to go in qualifying, and Thomas Meeks right here putting up a good time. So, man, I mean, I'll tell you what do these guys expect tonight? Obviously, sunset is happening right now. The track will be going to a nighttime setting. How will that affect the track? I mean, obviously, you know, Darlington stripes are going to happen here. The high line is pretty prominent. What do you expect?
Well, I expect at the early going, the track's going to be, I would say, a bit on the loose side. I'd say it's going to be a bit on the loose side, especially one of the things we'll talk about is going into 3, that sun is going to be directly in your face. So you got to be careful going into 3. If you're going side by side, you got to judge your braking points to perfection because you don't want to put the guy on your outside into the outside retaining wall for your troubles. But I think once we get to the nighttime and once this track starts cooling down, it's gonna be a little bit more tighter. I would say track's gonna cool down. I think the bottom will be more in play in the nighttime than the daytime, or I should say, than sunset.
Sounds good right now. Josh Larson taking out his qualifying lap, currently P2 at the 29.44. Mark Whitley, obviously P1 right now, showing up in that 29.30. So, Frankie, one thing we got to keep in mind too, today is the Throwback paint schemes. So we have a couple different guys, actually quite a bit, going to be showing off their Throwback paint schemes. Nick Lights right now on the track. Going to be going for pole here as well. I'll tell you what, Nick Lights, man, Season 1 Harpoon Design Truck Series champion, going for Season 2. I think he's got a good shot. Obviously, Mark Whitley and Joseph Mealy have something to say about that, but I think he's going to be a good contender for these boys.
Yeah, obviously our Season 1 champion, not Mark Whitley, Nick Lights. We've got, I would say Whitley has been the talk of the town for the last couple weeks. He has been racking up a ton of playoff points, and really the only other driver that has racked up those, not the same amount, but someone even close, is this 4 truck of Nick Lights.
That's right. Tell you what, one guy too to definitely not count out is that number 16 of EJ Marshall. He is a man who, as of late, has been very, very good. Has won recently in the Cup Series for his first time at Talladega 2 weeks back, right before our All-Star race break, and looked really good. Obviously, was being pushed by his teammate Drew Jua, but here in the Truck Series hasn't broken through yet, but has looked very, very good, very consistent in these in the regular season. Right now, obviously showing up in the playoffs. And looking pretty quick. Right now, third quick, 29.41, Frankie.
EJ's been kind of on a hot streak in both series, and he got that win in Talladega. Obviously with some help from his teammates, but hey, that's how Talladega rolls. And right now, he's put it up P3 on the board, about a 10th off of Mark Whitley. I think he could maybe gain a little bit more time if he could maybe try to get closer into turn 1 to that apron. Try to almost use that to help turn the truck.
That's right. So right now, Joseph Mealy going to be coming back out on track. Has won this season, has got himself into the playoffs nice and early in the season, but I'll tell you what, besides Mark Whitley, Nick Lights, I think he's a favorite. I think I'll put it that way. Hasn't won obviously nearly as much as his teammate Lights or Mark Whitley, but he is right there on most of these tracks. He is very, very fast and always a top 3 car.
Yeah, Joseph Mealy. He's kind of the sleeper almost. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe a real life comparison could be like a Alex Bowman or a William Byron maybe even you could even go with Christopher Bell on that. As those are the guys that have speed everywhere, but you don't normally talk about them. And as soon as you're thinking you're counting them out, well, guess what? They're up front and they're challenging for a win.
That's right. Great job so far. Right now, we have about 2 minutes left to go in qualifying. Again, Mealy is right now trying to make his way around this track. This egg-shaped oval. Right now in turn 3 and 4. See what he gets here for his qualifying time. Man, wraps that high line. What's he get here? 29.54. So going to finish fifth right there. Good effort by him for sure. Going to bring in Jonathan Wright here. So far, 5th place with the 29.46. Going to try and improve on that on a second go. So, Frankie, the nighttime is coming. I mean, it's coming quick, right? So, I mean, is it better to qualify late in this, as late as you can, and get a cooler track? What do you do here?
I mean, I've always been the kind to leave it to the last minute, but honestly, it's kind of your preference. Stick to your routine. If you like going out early, you like just setting a time and just maybe going for a bathroom break or getting water or something, then absolutely go for it. I feel like it's not too much of a difference. I think if you go to, I don't know, maybe other places like maybe like Charlotte or Homestead, then they could make a difference. But I feel like I don't think it makes too much of a difference, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Jonathan Wright, right there in the 04 with the 29.37, locks himself into P3. Fantastic job by him. Right now, we've about 50 or so seconds left to go until qualifying ends. And, I mean, right now, there's nobody on track. So, Frankie, a lot of different things going to go on today. Obviously, a throwback race. So, has some fun there with all the paint schemes. We'll go through those as the race goes. But, hey, stages today, it's a 100-lap race. So stages are going to be laps 20 and 50. So, I mean, again, this first format for the first stage is pretty quick. It's going to be basically a sprint, 20 laps, and then obviously, getting to that 50 in stage 2. These drivers have to keep in mind, too, especially playoff drivers, there's no fast repairs for these races. The last 5 races we have, Frankie, are no fast repairs. So that's going to be pretty interesting for sure. One wreck, obviously, one incident could take you out of the playoffs completely.
Yeah, we've seen it before. Just someone minding their own business gets taken out by something that wasn't really their fault, and it ends their playoff run. So I think these boys, they've got 2 agendas for these next 2 weeks. They've got keep their truck clean. Absolutely, keep your truck clean. You'll have a better chance of finishing up front. And 2, stage points.
That's right.
If you look at the playoff grid, only 4 drivers have playoff points. So that means basically almost, I would say, over half the field and the playoff field is literally on 0 points.
Yeah.
So that's incredibly important to get those stage points.
You're right. I mean, right now, Mark Whitley obviously has won so many times, so many podiums and stage wins and whatnot. He's got 41 points entering this playoff round. So very, very big for him. Nick Lights, 18, and Joseph Mealy, 6. Trevor Zlasny, who's not with us tonight, looks like, actually has 3 points. So, I mean, obviously missing today will be a huge burden for him. So we'll see if he comes back and joins us next week at Bristol, which will be an extremely fun time, obviously, in these trucks. We're not going to Bristol dirt, so don't worry about that. We're going to go to, the asphalt, the proper formation of that racetrack. I know I might get hate for that, but yeah, Bristol next week. And that's it. So that's round 1. So, I mean, Darlington and Bristol, 2 back-to-back iconic tracks, night races, both of them are going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to be kind of a hard-hitting first round, but I'll tell you what, I mean, to your point, Frankie, everyone else besides those 4 drivers, they have no stage points. I'm sorry, no playoff points. So it's basically a fresh season in a way. This first round for a lot of these guys is a mini 2-race season.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the drivers or I should say, probably three drivers that are in really good position right now: John Wright, EJ Marshall, and the 51 of Josh Larson. Three of the top five have zero playoff points, excuse me.
Yeah.
And they're going to be starting basically where they want to. They want to start up front. This place is extremely tough to pass, and you're basically going to need every which way of talent you have to get around this racetrack. Not only just once, but 100 times.
It's a great point. Right now, keep in mind, folks, that everybody who's watching online, obviously, and on the YouTube, we appreciate you guys being here. Everybody on the left side of your screen in red are your playoff drivers. So keep that in mind, obviously, as these playoffs go, as tonight's race goes. Doesn't mean a whole lot right now, but obviously it's good for you guys to know who's in the playoffs, who's not, and we're gonna get this thing going. So a lot of fun here today and tonight. Mark Whitley going to be leading him off into P1. Tell you what, let's talk about his paint scheme first of all on these opening pace laps, man. Mark Whitley in that retro Jeff Gordon paint scheme. Gotta love it. Harpoon Design Racing on the side, in on the hood. I'll tell you what, dude. This one for me kind of hits home because grew up a Gordon fan, and you know, I mean, since he retired, just so hard to you know, to pick a replacement fan, I guess.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. As a Johnson fan, it's hard.
Well, here we go. Green flag is going to be in the air. We're green. Ooh, AJ Marshall already getting loose right there out of turn one. Hold on to it. Got to keep in mind, no fast repairs. I mean, it's a long race. This track is so unforgiving. Frankie, turn two. Oh, we're already starting to see it bite people. There's a certain way you take that turn two, Frankie.
Yeah, it's hard enough to go through turn two at Darlington single file. It's another thing to go there double file. And we're already seeing guys drop to the back, you know, not having a good opening lap. It's that 04 of Jonathan Wright started, I believe, in the third
spot
position.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and he's fallen all the way back to ninth. So not a good opening lap for Mr. Wright.
Joe David in the back did hit that wall pretty hard into turn two. Not too bad, but obviously has some right side damage there. Got to watch out for that. That has to be repaired for sure. But again, Frankie, to your point, I mean, considering as how this playoff first two races is basically a little mini season, these stage points are massive for these guys.
Absolutely. You see it right there. Ooh, looks like EJ Marshall got a little loose on the exit of two. Just immediately going to try to take advantage of that. They're going to go through side by side.
Hold on to her. Oh, Lordy, EJ. So far, no caution on the track. Lap 4 keeps it going. Very surprising. Darlington, Frankie, I think, is one of those tracks, and I've seen this in multiple seasons past. It's almost like Indianapolis, where the lower apron section is bigger than the actual racing surface. And Darlington, as you can see, has a lot of real estate down there that actually is off the track. So iRacing considers that to not be a yellow. So very, very interesting. Indy's the same way on the back stretch, right before that pit entrance, if you can recall what that looks like. So we stay green, Frankie.
Yeah, obviously, just awful for 16 of EJ Marshall. He was in such good position to get stage points. Now he is all the way in the back, 18th. He is not going to get stage points. And next thing on his mind is, how much damage does he have? He definitely hit on that, I believe, his left front. So what kind of damage does he have there? He's got to assess it coming into the stage break. Luckily for him, he's only got about 13 laps left to really kind of just figure out what he's got to do and to stay ahead of Mark Whitley. It's about 19 seconds back. So I don't think that Mark Whitley could catch him.
That's right. I mean, right now, nobody can catch Mark Whitley. Already has a second lead up against Nick Lights in P2. Joseph Mealy, 1.7 seconds back. Josh Larson, where'd he come from? P4 right now. Didn't have the best qualifying effort, but I mean, already in P4. Little blinky right there, but all too good right there. Hey, one quick thing about Josh Larson. Not sure if you want this made public or not, but quick, just anybody in the chat, him and his son are going through a situation right now, his son in particular, and we just extend prayers and thoughts to Josh Larson, his family, and anything we can do, you know, big or small, whatever that might look like, you know, it could be big, right? So, I mean, let's just keep him and his family in our thoughts today, and just as these playoffs go, I'll tell you what, man, right now, P4 for him, such a good run, has been running really, really well, actually, in both series as of late. So, making a playoff run, Frankie.
Yeah, he's making a good playoff run. Obviously, going through issues off the virtual racing track, and it's so tough to really just come outside with all this bad energy, no matter what it is, and it's super hard to get into mind and focus. And you know, Josh is doing an amazing job right now in P4, doing the best he can. Right now, about 4 seconds off the lead. I think he's got good long run pace. I don't know how he's going to be on the short run, but he is doing his job. He is getting those stage points, and he needs to stay up front.
Yes, sir. Right now, I mean, Thomas Meeks, this like secondary pack right here is looking pretty good so far. Nice and clean. Thomas Meeks, Charlie Birch, Jonathan Wright, kind of front to back, all these guys right here, and holding on to it, not seeing a whole lot of damage on the outside walls, and looking pretty sharp.
Absolutely. And speaking of where'd he come from, Charlie Birch started, I believe, outside the top 10, was running 5th, but I'll tell you what, I think he might have used his stuff. You see right there, he's getting passed by Jonathan Wright, and he's got a mirror full of Nick Biddy now.
Well, Frankie, we didn't talk much about that. What do tires do here? Is it a cheese grater? What is it?
Yeah, it's an absolute cheese grater. The harder you push.
Hold on now. Lordy. What was that? I just heard huge contact up against the wall, but never mind. Keep it going, Frankie.
Absolutely. I would say this track is an absolute cheese grater, and tires are so important here. And even one lap difference of tires could make about a tenth and a half difference in lap time. So we'll see what these guys are capable of doing, you know, with different pit strategies, especially for stage 3. These first 2 stages aren't going to be really much strategy. It's just going to be not go as hard as you can, but, you know, just run to the end of the stage and try to be up there as soon as you can.
Love that. Let's take a ride on board. Who should we pick? Let's go to... I mean, let's just go to Mark Whitley, right? I mean, come on now. Let's go back to his cockpit. Take a ride on board. Here we go. Cross the start-finish line. Take a ride on board this track here. So, Frankie, a lot of the guys in the Cup, they'll dive down that dotted line and then shoot back up. I'm not really seeing that as much in the trucks, but as you can see right there, too, that turn 2, you got to take that entry real low.
Yeah, you saw there in turn 1. He's getting close to that, but he's not touching it. My guess is with these cars, if you touch that, it's going to absolutely shoot the front to the left, and it's going to really get the truck, in this case, super loose. You see right there, he's getting close to it, but he's not touching it. And obviously 2 is just a super tight corner anyway, going through single file. Imagine double file.
Oh, yeah.
As I think these boys, Thomas Meeks and John Wright, are about getting ready to do.
That's right. Right now, Michael Lanfear just passed Charlie Birch, currently for 9th place. A lot of the guys, Frankie, I mean, our whole top 9 are playoff drivers, as we see Nick Simpson right there bouncing into that turn 2 wall. Got to be careful there.
I got to be careful, but honestly, didn't look too bad. Just a scratch for him, honestly. So, but what I would say is, anybody who is looking and you're saying, why don't you, it's only 20 laps, why not push as hard as you can right from the get-go? I think Charlie Birch made a great example of why you do not. I believe he started P11?
Yes.
I would say P11. He was in 5th about 5 laps ago. He is dropped down to P10 again, and he is about to get passed for P10 at this moment.
Yeah. Oh, Nick Simpson. Hold on to her.
Another thing, super easy to do here at Darlington, just overdrive the entry of turn 3 and just get in the outside wall. Very easy to do.
That's right. Tell you what, right now, Josh Larson is catching Joseph Mealy. Not sure if Joseph is using up his stuff as well, but Josh is right there, man. Lap 17, going to make the inside pass right here.
And you see right there in turn 3, that's the perk of being on the inside. Like you're going to have a better middle of the corner. You see right there, he pulls up next to Joseph Mealy, does Josh Larson. And as soon as they get to the middle of the corner, he's able to carry more momentum than him. I'm sure maybe Joseph kind of lifted off the gas a little bit, say, hey, here you go. I know you're faster than me. I'm not going to fight you. And that's just the benefit of being on the bottom. But I'll tell you what, off the exit of turn 4, that top, once you get that thing rolling, it is hard to stop.
That's right. Bunch of guys in the back of the pack right here to cover real quick. Joe David has some damage from that turn 1 incident, lap 1. Melvin Young, not really sure what's going on with him. Haven't seen or heard much about that, but has some damage there on the right side. Love that old school Dale Earnhardt paint scheme, that multicolored car. Very, very cool. Right now, Mark Whitley going to be coming down to take stage number 1. And just like that, Mark Whitley, stage 1 winner. 20 laps, Frankie, that's it. Nick Lights in P2. Great job by him for that. Josh Larson gets massive points right here, stage 3, or position 3, excuse me. Joseph Mealy, Thomas Meeks gets top 5. Jonathan Wright, P6. Clinton Woodby, P7. Look at that paint scheme. Love and that old school Kevin Harvick scheme, the good wrench. Looking so good. Nick Biddy in P8, Michael Lanphier in P9, and then rounding out the top 10 is Charlie Birch. Good stuff all around. We're going to go hit our sponsors real quick. We'll come right back. We'll talk to Mark Whitley, and we'll go on from there. Be right back. Alrighty, we're back at the Harpoon Design Truck Series Darlington Throwback Race. Awesome time right now. The boys are going to be pitting. Mark Whitley obviously pitting, excuse me, from that first stall. Frankie, what do you see here, man? Everybody going to take 4 tires, right? I assume.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we said before, this track is an absolute cheese grater, and it's not just on just the 2 tires on the right side. It's all 4 tires. That it is just a cheese grater, and every time you come down pit road, it's not even a question. It's 4 tires, and if anybody tells you no, just slap them.
Perfect.
Just give them the old slapperoo.
Yep. Just yeah. Nothing else to say about that. Right now, man, Josh Larson showing P1. That can't be right. We saw Mark Whitley obviously lead him off. Unless somebody took 2 tires, no one's going to do that, right, Frankie?
No, I believe Mark Whitley might have sped coming into the pit lane. He is getting past, and I believe is. Yeah, I believe now he is. He might come back down pit road. I'm not sure, but he does look like he might come down pit road.
Alrighty, we're waiting to talk to Mark Whitley. I believe they're going to be joining just momentarily, but for now we're going to hold off on it.
Yeah, I believe now we just heard the call on the radio. Mark Whitley did indeed get a speeding penalty, so
oof.
Unfortunately, that is going to put him on the back foot. But I think he's got a strong enough. I think he's got a strong enough truck to make his way back to the front.
Yeah, I mean, right now, yeah, some issues with him currently, I guess, with his wheel as well. He might be losing force feedback. Waiting to hear some more words on that. Can't quite confirm or deny. Don't see him quite yet in our Radio just yet, so we can't bring him in, but that's completely fine. Obviously, a lot more pressing details to focus on. Getting here. Josh Larson is still showing P1. Let's bring him in, actually, if we can talk to him. See what he has to do here. We have 1 lap to go still, so let's bring him in as we don't see Mark quite yet. Where are we? Here we go. Hey, Josh Larson. Hey, man, it's Frankie and Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, dude, what's going on? So Mark Whitley, hey, has that speeding penalty. Breaking news.
Saw that.
And right now it shows the year P1. So what's the strategy here? I'm obviously had a great stage 1, finished P3. What do you do here?
Just get going. I think we have to save a little fuel on the start here and help my teammate right to my left right here as much as I can and just see if we can get some more stage points.
Sweet. All right, man. Hey, love to hear it. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Josh Larson, he gets it. Tell you what, that's kind of shocking, Frankie. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll tell you what's interesting. He said he had to save fuel off the start, so maybe fuel is a concern for these drivers. So I believe these guys could go about 26, 27 laps, but I may be wrong. They may have to go 25. They may only have to go 25 laps.
Hey, right now we're trending green for a while here, so it should be interesting to see how this actually works out. But right now we're going to see Josh Larson leading him off. Chose the outside lane, obviously. Here we go. Green flag in the air.
And you'll see early in this race, going into turn 1, you'll see everyone try to get single file.
Woo, Charlie Birch, hold on, buddy, hold on to it. Keeps it straight. Nice job there by Charlie.
I could say from Charlie Birch. I believe he's got a little bit of a tough road ahead of him now. Those tires are really hot. But as we have said, he's got a clean truck, and we think he's fast. So we'll see what he does.
Yes, sir. Well, Mark Whitley right now currently back in P11. He won the stage 1, so gets those 10 points as well as the 1 playoff point. So that's really 11 essentially. Charlie Birch still having some major issues in the back. Woo! Hitting the wall. All kinds of malfunctions here for Charlie. Got to just calm down, Frankie, and just let that truck come back to you.
Yeah, Darlington is one of those places where you have to have a rhythm. If you do not have rhythm, you're going to be all out of sorts. It's almost like a road course per se, but not quite. These guys are looking for a rhythm as much as they can, and right there, Charlie had his rhythm broken from the caution, made a mistake, and unfortunately has not regathered his rhythm yet.
That's right. Right now, Joseph Mealy couldn't make a move around. Thomas Meeks are trying to, definitely faster. What can he do here? Frankie, you're one, I've seen you before here at Darlington. You like that down low, riding that white line around 3 and 4. Is that what you do here in these trucks?
I wouldn't say not yet. I think these trucks are a little more momentum based, so they're gonna try to go for the top first. But I do think that bottom lane, I like it for one because it saves the right front here. For whatever reason, it just saves right front.
Mark Woolley making that move around. Nick Simpson doing a great job there, moving through the field. Back at the pack, has some guys right here. Big pack. Joe David, Charles Bounds, Isaac Balsamo, Larry McKenzie. Can't forget about him. A playoff driver as well on that 00. Looking great. Love that Budweiser paint scheme. Old school. Oh, hold on now. Whoa, what was that? Isaac Balsamo gets around here. Keeps it going straight. Got to keep it going. Backs it up a little bit. Again, Darlington's unique because that's considered way off the track, so no caution. We're going to stay green here.
Yeah, the big thing is he's got to watch out for the leaders coming now. He's got to get up to speed really fast. I'll tell you what. Who's coming into the fold, going for the lead? It's Jonathan Wright.
Yeah, some big surprises here in front of him. I'm loving to see it. The playoff start and a lot of different players starting to show up at the front of the field. Josh Larson obviously getting that lead back from, when Mark Whitley had his troubles. But, I mean, right now, Jonathan Wright in P2 he's making it work. John, I mean, in the back here, we're seeing Thomas Meeks at that turn 2 wall a little bit, but Nick Light's making it work around him.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm a little surprised from Mark Whitley. I would think he would be absolutely rocketing his way through the field, but he's kind of stalled out in 10th a little bit. As I say that, he's now going to make a move on that 16 truck of EJ Marshall. I think maybe he's trying to save some fuel. I mean, we did hear that.
Good point.
Josh Larson had to save fuel. It's right there. He just can't get by EJ Marshall. Ooh, Nick Simpson. That bright yellow truck in the back there slammed that wall decently hard.
I mean, you were explaining that. It is tough to pass here, right? I mean, you got to kind of set them up. It's not always the easiest, these trucks. I mean, obviously, like the tires, as they fall off, I would assume it makes it even harder.
Yeah, the falling off period makes it a bit harder, but I would say, ooh, EJ Marshall got a little bit of the wall there. But yeah, I would say if you saved your tires good enough, it will become a little easier. But if you definitely, did not take care of those tires, it becomes very treacherous to pass.
That's right. One thing, Frankie, I'm also noticing too is that, I mean, listen, Nick Lights, Joseph Mealy, these guys are fast, right? They're not catching Josh Larson and Jonathan Wright. So what are they doing? I mean, are they saving the fuel? True, there could be. But I've never known Nick Lights to be conservative in his driving style. So for me, I mean, does this kind of shake you up a bit?
No, I think Nick Lights is catching him a bit. Don't mean to contradict you there, Steve, but I think they are catching, or at least at the very least, it's stalemate right now. We do know Nick Lights is one of the most aggressive drivers in the series.
Right.
So we'll see what happens with this pack. But I'll tell you what, as the leaders are coming up on lapping Mr. Isaac Balsamo, we shall see what might happen. This is going to be a bit of a chess game in stage 2. A little bit surprised by this, honestly.
Yes, sir. I mean, right now, the lap 36, we only have 14 laps to go on stage number 2. So, I mean, obviously, Mark Whitley, to your point, hasn't gotten through the pack as nearly as fast as he wanted to. Obviously, just right there past Michael Lamphere and Clinton Woodby for those positions. But so he is making his way through. But here's the thing. He's still 7 seconds back. It's a long time, Frankie.
It is a long time, but I think he knows there's a caution coming out. I think what he really wants to do is I just think he wants to make sure he gets through this stage. He knows he's not going to win this stage. All he can do is just try to keep the truck as clean as possible. And he's about a couple truck lengths, away from Nick Biddy. And then after that, he is about 3 seconds away from Thomas Meeks. So is he going to catch Thomas Meeks? I don't think so. But you never know. There you go. He's going to make that pass on Nick Biddy.
Yes, sir. Nick Biddy having a great time right now, too. Currently in P7. Had a great result there in stage 1. So right now, currently looking pretty good, pretty favorable, obviously, for his playoff hopes. Next week, obviously, Bristol. Hey, listen, Bristol is madness. You never know what it's going to be like there. So you got to get all the points you can here at a place that's kind of predictable, I feel like. But, Bristol, short track racing, close quarters, you never know.
Yeah, Bristol is absolute chaos whenever you go there. And it's not because it just produces chaos, but it's just that it's a short track, right? Short tracks means short space and short tempers even.
That's right.
For that matter. And I mean, we saw it last year with short tempers, and you never know really what to expect from Bristol or even most of the short tracks, but you do know one thing: there will be chaos.
Absolutely. Speaking of chaos, unfortunately for a couple of these guys in the back of the field here, Larry McKenzie Jr., right now a playoff hopeful, is right now a lap down with some damage. Obviously still has that one more stage to go, one more guaranteed caution to get back on the lead lap, so he is in that position for the lucky dog if it were to come out. So no worries there per se. But, I mean, Isaac Balsamo, 5 laps down right now, still on track, but obviously a lot of damage for him. Larry McKenzie in the 07 looks like he's out of the race currently, unfortunately for him as well. But then a few guys right here. Melvin Young. Right now, tail end of the lead lap. 15th, Joe DeVede. Obviously, we saw those issues at the beginning of the race, too. So I mean, Charlie Birch holding on strong there in 13th. All by his lonesome, so some house cleaning there for those guys, but holding on to it. And again, hey, in the back of the field, it's not too bad. You can hold on, you can hang out, you know, and save your car for the last stage. You never know what can happen. But right now, go ahead, Frankie. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, you never know what can happen at the end of these races. Is we're gonna have a battle for the lead here shortly. It is stalled out really to 2.5 tenths, 3 tenths. You know, John Ray is just there. I think right now, I think all they're thinking of is just points and just, you know, trying to make sure they have enough fuel to get to the end of the stage. Not only to get to the end of the stage, but also to get to pit road.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I mean, hey, once that stage comes out, you're still going to go around one more time. So that at least. So that is one thing to keep in mind as well. But Frankie, I mean, hey, listen, Josh Larson, Jonathan Wright within a quarter of a second there. And then Nick Lights, he's 2 seconds back with his teammate Joseph Mealy. So they're kind of chilling out a little bit. Thomas Meeks right here, kind of on an island all by himself. Right now, 3.5 seconds back. And then Mark Whitley, way back in P6, is still 5.6 seconds back, but he is catching up the quickest. He has already gained 1.5 seconds within the last 5 laps, so definitely moving his way forward. Not going to quite get there at this rate by the end of the stage, but making his way back up after that pit road speeding penalty.
Yeah, I did notice, especially in 3 and 4, he's running a little bit different line than everybody else. He's not going up to the outside wall like you would normally see. Like let's watch what Josh Larson and see right there. You see Jonathan Wright go all the way to the wall.
Yeah,
he'll get this good run coming down the straightaway. He's gonna poke to the inside. See if Josh Larson's gonna have anything to say about it.
Oh man, hits the wall hard.
He got that wall pretty good.
Woof. Oh my gosh, not good. Trying to make a run right there, trying to make a move or hold on to it while JD gets around him, but tough break for Larson. Hopefully doesn't affect his truck too much, but JD right now back out front, almost a second lead, 5 laps to go in stage number 2.
It's a tough break for Josh Larson. You're almost better off, you know, early in the race, especially going into 1. You're almost better just kind of lifting off the gas and, you know, fight, you know, wait to fight another day. But, and you know, and if you don't, sometimes that's the result. Hopefully you can get that truck fixed.
That's
but
right.
I'll tell you what, look who's catching. It's Joseph Mealy in 3rd place. Nick Lights has fallen off the pace a little bit. Looks like he might have used his stuff a little bit too much.
Well, Frankie, I mean, you were saying it, the tires are definitely one thing to consider, but at the same time, this particular stage, we've gone green the entire race so far, and in stage 2. So these drivers have got to be really close on fuel right now.
Yeah, and again, you can't pit. If you pit, you're most certainly going down a lap, and you're jeopardizing your championship run, not only for this race but for next week too.
That's right.
So I think we'll see guys just try to stretch it, as on the right just pulling out to about a second lead, coming to 2 laps to go.
Yes, sir. Jonathan Wright currently is actually catching the back of the field too, so you gotta watch out for that.
Yeah, I believe he's catching Melvin Young. So, and I'll tell you what, that's not good for Mr. McKenzie in the 00. He's got Melvin Young is his best friend at this moment. He's got to hope Melvin Young can stay ahead of that 04 of Jonathan Wright. And if you're John Wright and you know that 00 is a playoff driver who's a lap down, you want to make sure you put Melvin Young a lap down as there he goes. Melvin Young going to move out of the way. He's going to go down a lap.
That's right. Well, hey, Josh Larson had a great stage 2. You're going to finish, looks like P2 for stage number 2, unless he's out of fuel here. Maybe, nope. Okay, never mind. The camera angle threw me off. We're good. But P2 for Josh Larson, really, really good stage points there for him, obviously. But Jonathan Wright going to come around here out of turn 4, and he's going to win stage number 2. Jonathan Wright, stage 2 winner. Awesome job by him. Really solid effort considering, I mean, him and Josh Larson. Josh mentioned the fuel mileage thing at the beginning during the interview at the end of stage 1. So a lot of these guys, actually all of them, made it on fuel. So very impressive so far. But Frankie, you said it. You got to get your way back around still too.
Yeah, you see guys shutting off the motor, coasting as long as they can. Guys they just want to use as little fuel as possible. And just give you an update on Mark Whitley. Mark Whitley was able to get back to P5, so I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in this third stage. It's going to be very interesting to see how John Wright, Josh Larson, Joseph Mealy play, because it feels like those three have been the best trucks besides Mark Whitley, especially on the long run.
I agree. Right now, obviously, Melvin Young was passed by the leaders, so he's going to be the lucky dog, assuming that he will actually be granted that. So that's one thing to consider. But yeah, Jonathan Wright going to be your stage 1 winner. We're going to watch the pit road. We'll come back and talk to our sponsors real quick. We'll be right back, folks. All right, folks, we're back at the Harpoon Design Truck Series Darlington Throwback Race. Whew, that's a mouthful right there, Frankie. But I'll tell you what, right now, you saw it right there. Josh Larson beat off everybody off pit road. Going to be currently back in P1. Joe David looks like he took the wave around, or at least didn't pit potentially. So we'll catch up on that new story in just a second. But so far, so good. Great race so far. We have gone caution-free so far. 50 laps in. Caution-free. I know I'm probably going to jinx it, but hey, listen, that's good. It's a good trend so far, Frankie.
That's a pretty good trend. Obviously, the other two cautions were for the stage ends, and I'm telling you what, I'm a little surprised. John Wright did not get through pit road very well. Needs to work on that, because if this goes green all the way, we are for sure going to have a green flag pit stop. Probably, yes, in my opinion, a top 3 toughest place to pit under green.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. You're going in 3 and you don't even see the pit entry, and then you're going through 3 and 4. You don't even see it until basically you're on the exit of 4.
It's a great point. Right now, Matt Fleming, our race control for the night, currently in that choose truck. Big thanks obviously to him and Harpoon Design for the amazing livery on that truck. And hey, listen, he's had a light day today, so love that. Not a lot of cautions to be out there for the drivers to choose. So great to see, that kind of night. Choose truck is obviously very cool, but we want to see it as least as possible, right, Frankie?
Yep, I would definitely agree with you. Don't want to see it as often.
Well, there it is, and there it goes. So right now, Josh Larson didn't get a lot of damage fixed, unless it looks worse than we think it is, but obviously elected to not necessarily fix the damage, but maintains his lead. Going to be in P1, choosing the outside, obviously, as usual. Joseph Mealy in P2. A couple of notables, Frankie, to your point. Jonathan Wright is going to be restarting on the outside third. He led that stage. He won it, so I did see him a little speed through his pit stop a little bit. But then Mark Whitley, he's back here in P7. So a couple issues all around, as we're seeing, but some surprises. Clinton Woodby in P5, having a great run right there, great pit stops. Nick Lights in P6. So a couple of shakers, but Frankie, we have 45 laps to go. What do you expect this time by?
I would say about 46 laps to go. We're definitely going to see a green flag pit stop. The question is going to be, when are these guys going to take that chance?
Exactly.
That's going to be the difference.
Well, that chance starts right now. Stage number 3 going to be beginning right here Josh Larson leads them off. Here we go.
Tell you what, that inside line did not get a good restart, starting with Joseph Mealy.
No, sir.
That leaves Josh Larson up front, but look at that, Joseph Mealy taking that second spot away from potentially from Jonathan Wright. Ooh, Josh Larson in the wall again, it looks like.
Yeah, big moves. Joseph Mealy squeezes by. Next time by, we're going to go hit up a Bring the Noise, sponsored by Harpoon Design. Here we go. All right, Frankie, the sun is setting, but the playoffs have just begun. Right now, Joseph Mealy is leading this Harpoon Design Truck Series race. I'll tell you what, looking pretty good right now. Kind of surprising. Some big movers right here. Josh Larson currently in P2, Jonathan Wright in P3. Nick Light's not really making the moves like he wants to, or like I kind of thought he would. Currently in P4, but Mark Whitley right there back in P5. These guys, Frankie, aren't getting through the field like I thought they would.
No, and honestly, I think Mark Whitley has brought the fastest truck here, but he's having a bit of a tough time getting by. Nick Lights he's going to pull the inside, but is he going to make that move stick?
Woo!
Ooh, it's close.
Great move.
Yep. There he goes. He's going to make that move for P4. But I think it's just super tough to pass per se, and I think Mark Whitley is just trying to be careful and not force anything, because he knows he's got the fastest truck.
That's right.
So, and he knows he's got playoff points in hand. All he's got to do is finish good.
Oh, Nick Simpson, Michael Lamphere. Some contact there. Quick update, by the way, on Nick Simpson, coming from some just wealth of knowledge over here in the chat. Nick Simpson, a true scholar, a hero, a man free of demons, a man who pays his taxes on time, Frankie, and calls his parents every night. Now a consistent middle-of-the-pack threat. Much love to that 46. Hey, Nick Simpson, he's doing it, man. Look it. You can't miss him in that yellow banana paint scheme. Love to see it.
Yep, a true saint from God. He is Nick Simpson. And before we get any further than that, he is no simp. Okay, I think he told me last week.
Yeah, we're over that.
Yep, we're over that. Okay, good. So we don't have to talk about it anymore. He is right now inside the top 10. So let's talk about that.
Hey, one thing.
Great here.
I'm not gonna lie. I want to know more about Sand Tiger tattoos. I've been kind of itching, Frankie, to get a tattoo recently, my very first one, and I don't know where they're located, man. But if they're anywhere near me, I might go and check them out.
Well, I think honestly, that might be a good sponsor plug.
Might be
for Mr. Nick Simpson. Unfortunately for me, I cannot get I do not want a tattoo because I'm unfortunately afraid of needles.
That's true. Well, I'll leave that alone. Right now, P1, Joseph Mealy, looking pretty good right now. Josh Larson, Jonathan Wright, both still in P2 and P3, but lurking in the back in P4 is Mark Whitley. He is catching up. Past Nick Lights, obviously a second ago, Mark Whitley in P4, but Jonathan Wright, Josh Larson have been holding steady there. in the podium spots. You love to see it. It just kind of tells me, Frankie, that, I mean, is this a tire issue? Is it a clean air thing that helps so much? Like, what is it that keeps these guys in front? Obviously, I'm not going to hold back from their talent and their skill. They're doing very, very well. But what about this track or this tire combination, whatever it is, that's allowing them to stay up front and not get passed by these guys?
Well, I would say, for one, the track is about three lanes wide for the most part. So basically, there's not a lot of room to begin with. And two, it's just, there's really one groove. And you see it right there. All the trucks are going to the top of the racetrack. So the only way to really pass someone is to hope for a mistake, or hope that you're fast enough off the corner.
That's right.
That you can get to, you can get to the inside of them, out of 4, out of 2, and just basically, I wouldn't say pull a slide job, even though you could do it, but I would say just enough to get alongside them and try to either bait them into the wall or do something that can get them a little bit timid.
That's a great point. Well, quick update, Frankie. Sand Tiger tattoos are actually in Longwood, Florida. So, not sure if you know about that at all, but there you go.
I'm not going to lie, Steve. I've never heard of a place called Longwood, Florida.
Well, now you have Mark Whitley right now making a move. Hold on now. Josh Larson, Jonathan Wright. Let me get the camera going here. Man, Mark Whitley made a close move right there. Couldn't really tell if JD got loose or whatnot, but whew.
Yeah, it looks like JD just got pinched to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to make a move on Josh Larson going into turn 1. And unfortunately, it didn't work. He got trapped in the bottom. Mark Whitley trying to pull a crossover. Then he says, you know what, I'm going to try the outside, and almost contact between those two drivers.
Love to see it. Really, really impressed, honestly, by Josh Larson, Jonathan Wright. We don't talk about them nearly as much, right? I mean, obviously, Joseph Mealy, right now leading, has wins this season, right? Mark Whitley, dominant this season. Nick Light's dominant this season. Such a good drive by these guys day in and day out. But when you start to see these guys, Josh Larson, Jonathan Wright, show up in the playoffs and really make a statement, you love to see that, because that just shows the passion these guys have, you know, what they're bringing to the table. And there's other guys too, like Thomas Meeks right now, P6, doing such a great job right there. Super consistent. Truck looks nice and clean. No issues right there. Really consistent for him. Clinton Woodby in P7, Frankie. Loving that Harvick paint scheme. Oh man, that actually might be my favorite. I'm not going to lie. I love that scheme so much. Michael Lanphier, playoff driver, hasn't had quite the race he's wanted today. He's been in the top 10, has gotten plenty of stage points, but not quite, up there, right? I mean, when you finish 8th or 9th in the stage, in the playoffs, that's great. But when the other top 8 are all playoff drivers, it's kind of tough. So, he's going to need a really good Bristol potentially, or end of this race to see how he does in the future for his playoff hopes. But Nick Biddy, right now, again, playoff driver as well, doing really good there in P9. And then Nick Simpson, we just talked about him, currently in P10. But shakeups right now at the beginning of the field. Jonathan Wright gets around Josh Larson.
Yeah, absolutely. John Wright finally getting around that 51 machine. And I'll tell you what, I believe Josh Larson was slowing him down a bit. They were about 1.2 seconds back from when we first clicked on this battle. Now they're about 2.5 seconds. Just right there. I think Josh pulls to the inside. He's going to let these two go. Yep, that is indeed the case. He did have a case of the blinks, and he's going to be in the back of this pack.
Yeah, much respect there for sure. Oh, Thomas Meeks absolutely clambers the wall in turn 2. Man.
I'll tell you what, that was hard. He's definitely got some damage along that right side. He might even have wheel damage from that.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a tie rod. It could be a lot of stuff right there, but that's a hard hit. I mean, again, kind of on an island right there in P6. 2 seconds back of in front of him and 2 seconds back behind. So doing a great job in P6, but you got to hold on to it. Whew, that was hard.
I'll tell you what, story's going to come out. Guess what? There's guys coming in the pits, one of them being a playoff driver, Nick Biddy. So the pit stops are already starting.
Love to see it. Frankie, it's open right now, right? So they're short pitting. Is this a smart move?
I would say this is definitely a smart move on Nick Biddy. He was sitting in, I believe, P9. He was a little bit back from Michael Landfield. And at the most, if he was going to follow the leaders, which I think the leaders are probably going to pit around lap 76, 77. If he follows them, he's going to finish most likely in 9th place.
That's right.
He's doing something a little bit different. He's going to get the fresh tires early, set some fast laps. He's going to try to gain some track position on the rest of the field. Now, I don't think he's going to win the race with this strategy, but can you pick up a couple spots? I think he could.
And Frankie, hey, here's the thing too. They're putting on right now their 3rd set of tires. So this is almost worth it. If you short pit, if a caution comes out, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 laps to go, or from now, you still have that 1 set of tires left for the last, I don't know, 10 laps of the race that you can just, I mean, full send.
Yeah, and again, we'll see the strategy. Again, one caution could really throw this race on its back. And we've seen it before. So, and especially at this place where strategy is mostly the name of the game here in stage 3. We've got about 25 laps to go. It's going to be very interesting to see who's going to come down next.
I mean, if you're Josh Larson, do you come now? Oh, you do. Here it is.
Yep, here it is. He's
As I
coming
say it. I mean, right now, obviously, you know, in P5, you know, obviously had the blinking issue, had some, you know, definitely has the speed to finish top 5, if not podium. And hey, come down now, get the fresh tires, beat these guys off, and, you know, get a nice few fast laps before they come down.
Yep, it's gonna be the same thing as Nick Biddy. He's not gonna win the race, I don't think, but he is gonna maybe gain a position or two that could help on the points. As I'm hearing on the radio, that 39 truck, their leader, is coming into the pits.
Here they are, all of them coming down. Nick Light's real loose right there coming down, but your leaders are coming down right now. Jonathan Wright keeps out. He is staying out for one more lap, it looks like. I mean, if you're Jonathan Wright, you really got to pit now if you want to stay on the same strategy as them, or do you just say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to stay out, get some points, lead some laps, and you know what, if a caution comes out, great, I'll pit then, I'll get my fresh set, and that's it.
It doesn't look like he's coming down to pit road. He might be coming down this time, but maybe. I don't know. I believe that is him coming into frame at the entrance of pit road.
He's going to whiz right by, Frankie.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, he's staying on the racetrack. So I think what he wants to do is he wants to catch a caution real quick. I think that's what he really wants.
Yeah.
He wants to trap everybody a lap down. And he is basically, if that does happen, he's going to have to pull
Mark
the race.
Whitley and Joseph Mealy collide right there on pit road. Oh, Nick Lights! Mark Whitley on the track. All of our leaders. Josh Larson coming through. Caution is out on the track. Oh my word. What in the hell happened there, Frankie?
I don't know. That is just probably a couple different things happening at the same time. But I'll tell you what, I think John Wright is about to throw an absolute party tonight.
Oh my word.
Because he just won about $1 million in Vegas right now.
Just hit the jackpot. Let's go back and look at that. That is not going to be good for these guys. We saw Mealy and Mark Whitley come off a pit road together at the same time, obviously, but we'll have to go way back. Apologize for the rewinds and the all kinds. We're going to break this one down big time for you guys because this is absolutely insane. All right, let's go to Mark Whitley here. Okay, still on pit road. We'll follow from here just so we can kind of get a good view.
Yeah, I would say maybe you can fast forward maybe another like 10 seconds. Yep, right here.
We'll just cover it. So, I mean, so Mealy beats him off. Pit road. They're coming out. Joseph Mealy, I think here might bobble or Mark is trying to get down here. Oh, man, they just... Mark tries to like pass him maybe at the blue line and then just absolutely, I mean, kind of just collides with Mealy.
Yeah, he just misjudges it right there. And then Nick Light's trying to avoid it. He's actually going to try to go in between, and that's not going to work. He hits the wall hard.
Nick Lights, let's actually take a look back at this because this is a little sketchy to me. So obviously they're coming off a pit road right there. We'll fast forward it. Not the biggest fan of doing that for you guys. It looks a little cheesy, but it makes it effective, especially at a time like this where this is such a huge moment in the race. Our leaders are all... Okay, so we'll play it right here. Obviously up front, we're going to see Mark kind of come down low, trying to pass him. Not real sure what was going on there, but... Oh, Nick kind of gets loose a little bit right there, but I can't really tell, Frankie, what do you think? I'll start with you.
I mean, honestly, I think it's a misjudgment from Mark. I think he wants to try to get underneath Joseph Mealy, but he also wants to get in contact with that blue line. You know, so he's trying to thread the needle. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then I think two things. I think he's trying to get off. You know, I think he's trying to get off the racing line, and I think at the same time he is also maybe trying to pay a little revenge for his teammate.
I mean, Nick right there obviously was annoyed. He gets back into Whitley. I don't know. All I'm going to say is Mealy, Whitley, and Lights are heavily damaged, and this changes the entirety of this race.
Yep, this absolutely just flips it on its head. So we will have 10 cars in the lead lap. Mark Whitley will be the last car in the lead lap. But Nick Lights is effectively knocked out of this race. And that basically, I'll tell you what, the big winner, there's two big winners in this scenario. It's Jonathan Wright and Charlie Birch. Charlie Birch decided to follow the same thing John Wright did. Yeah. And it worked out to perfection. Now, obviously, the big losers, I think the big loser in all this is Joseph Mealy. If he's going to have the same tires that he spun on, so they're going to be hot, and he's got to try to cool them down as much as he can.
Yeah. I mean, right now he's showing off as P3. I don't know if the scoring system is just a little wonky there, but we'll get confirmation in just a second. But obviously our first caution for an incident of the day. The first two were obviously the stage end. So right now, great race so far, considering, but obviously a massive deal here. Nick Light's actually still in the pits, going to go a lap down, it would appear. So unfortunate for him. EJ Marshall, Joe David still a lap down as well from previous wrecks and incidents, but Charlie Birch showing P2, Frankie. I mean, again, another winner from that just collection of issues. But right now they're choosing.
Yeah, right now they're choosing. John Wright picks the outside. The other two pick the inside. So basically, everybody else was a wave around car. So Josh is going to pick the outside. I think everyone is going to pick the outside here. I don't know if they know that or maybe, yeah. So obviously there's Nick Simpson. I think Nick Simpson actually was the only guy who picked the inside who was the wave around. So he's going to maybe line up like fifth.
Looks like it. Yeah. I mean, right now, so your leader's going to be Jonathan Wright. Charlie Birch going to be in P2. So a great recovery for him for that for sure. Josh Larson in P3. And again, he got those tires a little early before the leaders came down, but not a lot of tire wear on those. But Joseph Mealy, I mean, considering, that gigantic mess with him and the other guys, he's P4. So really not too bad a shape. And then Thomas Meeks in P5. So Clinton Woodby, a lot of guys, Frankie, a lot of shakers. That changed everything. Mark Whitley, to your point, back in P10 right now. Nick Light's actually still in the pit road. I mean, obviously had massive damage there from getting involved in that wreck, but then also trying to, pay a little disrespect to, or I guess pay back to Whitley. So here we go. Going to be 15 laps to go. And Jonathan Wright is in position to win his first ever ASRA race and Harpoon Design Truck Series race. Charlie Birch, Josh Larson, same boat for them. This is going to heat up, Frankie. We have seen it has been hard to pass. What can they do?
Well, let's see what they can do. I think, honestly, the two in the best spot, in the best positions, obviously, Mr. John Wright, but also Charlie Birch. Those two had the freshest tires. I think Mr. Larson's going to roll around the outside of Charlie Birch.
Yes, sir. Right now, a great restart for these guys. Back in the pack. Can't keep in mind, I mean, Nick Lights coming back off pit road right now. Big storyline right there. Mark Whitley currently in P8. Blew past a couple of those drivers in the back, but obviously has to get through these guys. I mean, right now he is currently 2.5 seconds back already, so has to move forward. Charlie Birch getting passed by Clinton Woodby. Woodby making a good move right there.
Yeah, right now it is go time for these boys. Joseph Mealy wasting no time getting by Josh Larson, and right now he's hunting down John Wright for the lead.
Yes, sir. Mealy right now kind of came, through the race, kind of came out as a favorite. And right now, Mealy is showing that he has to catch Jonathan Wright to make this happen. Jonathan Wright, though, is in great shape to try and get his first win of the season, though. I mean, his truck looks fantastic. There's no damage. You just got to hold on to it.
Yeah, he's got to hold on to it, but I'll tell you what, he's got the freshest tires. He's got Joseph Mealy, who's absolutely pushing like crazy behind him, and he's giving everything he can.
Which can hurt Mealy. I mean, if Jonathan Wright can hold him off, that's going to kill Mealy at some point, I would assume, right?
Yeah, I think it will, and we'll see. We'll see what John Wright does. I think what John Wright is going to do is I think he's going to try to hold off Mealy as much as possible.
Right.
I think that's what's going to happen naturally with under 15 to go. You don't want to let anyone by. But if Mealy does get by, it's not the end of the world for him, I don't think.
Right.
I think if John Wright has the freshest tires. We know how big tire wear is here. Joseph Mealy, if anything, probably has the worst tires because he spun.
That's right.
So those tires are hot. They're flat spotted, and again, he's making them pay. But I tell you what, it was about 2/10. Now it's back to half a second.
Yeah, Wright's already definitely making the gap longer. But Mark Whitley right now, just to cover him real quick, Frankie 5.5 seconds back already. He has got to move forward if he has any chance of trying to reclaim this win. He looks so good and so dominant early, obviously in stage 1 to stage 2, but it all started, Frankie, with that pit road speeding penalty.
Yeah, that probably just maybe oh. I was about to say, you and I saw that both at the same time. Looks like Nick Simpson and Michael Lanfair made contact.
Yeah, I mean, obviously right there. I mean, Whitley got into the wall too. I think right now we're seeing a very frustrated Mark Whitley. Again, obviously led stage 1, won stage 1, has plenty of points on the day to, breeze through Bristol next week, plus his playoff points. Got to keep that in mind too. So, not too, as far as his playoff hopes, there's no concern over there in the Whitley camp. But obviously a frustrating race, but those things can happen. But right now, Jonathan Wright is still in front of Joseph Mealy. Nick Light still on track right there, coming back on pit road potentially. Can't really tell what's going on there. Hopefully we don't see I'm hoping we don't see another Matt Kenseth and Joey Logano scenario in Bristol, or Martinsville, but I guess we'll find out.
I don't think so. I think Nick is just trying to get out of the way of everyone. You never know, but I think that's all he's trying to do. Just trying to get out of everyone's way.
Yes, sir. Well, the top 3, Jonathan Wright, right now, he's kind of maintaining that almost half a second lead over Joseph Mealy. So doing a great job so far. I mean, like you said, has the freshest tires, has got to just hold on to it. Joseph Mealy in P2. Josh Larson, again, had heavy contact back in stage 2, which led to Jonathan Wright winning stage 1, or stage 2. I apologize, actually, for not talking to Jonathan Wright. I wanted to do that at the end of stage 2, but obviously a lot of stuff going on. We'll definitely talk to him at the end of this thing, it would appear. But Clinton would be P4. Awesome comeback race for him. Was definitely got an advantage from that caution that came out. So that P4 is going to be huge so far for him. And then Thomas Meeks, we've seen him consistently in the top 5 or 6, and had some heavy contact, obviously, there we saw, but really consistent, Frankie.
Yeah, right now, just a really good day for the top 5, especially. I think these boys in the top 5 can, if the results stand, can leave this place proud of what they've done tonight.
That's right.
They'll just go and attack Bristol.
It's great point right now. I mean, yeah, this top 5 is very surprising to me. Not again, and I've touched on this before, but not because of talent levels or whatnot. It's just it's really cool for me to see guys who you don't normally see in the regular season dominating or doing really well or whatever, but they're showing up when it matters. And a lot of that can be said for these guys. As we're seeing right now, Jonathan Wright has a 0.6 of a second lead, almost 0.7 up against Joseph Mealy. Frankie, he is 4 laps away from his first ever win in the Harpoon Design Truck Series. I'm getting amped up just because I know how much this is going to mean to him if he does pull it off. But obviously also, it's always fun to see a first-time winner. And in the playoffs, this will get him into the next round. He can completely, forget about Bristol and move on to the round of 8. So really cool for him to see if he can get this right now. Can't say enough about it. Obviously, we're all hoping and praying for a caution-free ending of this race, but it's been a very good race so far.
Yeah, if this result does stand, John Wright, I think John Wright might have led the most. It was either between him, Mealy, or Mark Whitley, but either way, those have been the 3 dominant ones. The top 2 are definitely well deserving. Mark Whitley, unfortunately, if this result does stand, he's not going to get the finish he wants, but I think he'll go into next week knowing it's okay. He's got a big gap, and his closest competitor on points, I should say, before tonight is sitting 15th right now.
That's right.
Is on pit lane. So
and keep in mind, absolutely, it's a great point too.
Yeah, I would say a couple drivers not having good nights. Obviously, we touched on Nick Lights. Larry McKenzie not having a good night. Did not get any stage points, I believe. And Mike Lamphere, he got some stage points, but unfortunately not going to be enough. He's going to finish 12th. And EJ Marshall, just not a good night in general. Was running really good. Unfortunately, had some contact with Joseph Mealy.
Yes,
and
sir.
He's going to finish 10th. But I'll tell you what.
You know what, Frankie? This is it. Jonathan Wright coming around lap 3 and 4. I'm sorry, turn 3 and turn 4. Gonna get his first ever checkered flag here for the Harpoon Design Truck Series. Jonathan Wright is going to be your winner today for the Throwback race here in the Truck Series. Awesome job. His first ever win in the Harpoon Design Truck Series and also his first ever win in the ASRA. Love to see it. Love to see first-time winners. With this win, he can say screw Bristol. He's going right to the next round of the top 8. Love to see it.
Yeah, great job from Jonathan Wright. And I'll tell you what, it's almost looking like he's still going full speed. But man, great result from John Wright. Great result from Joseph Mealy, and our podium with Josh Larson rounding it out to their a little friendly bump from Joseph Mealy. And also maybe another one coming from Josh Larson there. I'll tell you what, I think we might see a big burnout from Jonathan Wright. What do you think?
Love to see it, man. I'll tell you what, this is definitely a personal favorite of mine for sure. Not driver necessarily, but as far as finish and results, this race overall was very, very good. We only had 1 caution. Obviously, that 1 caution was quite the talk of the town, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more people talking about that in the post-race. But listen, sometimes that's what has to happen for some of these guys to break through. But ultimately, the person who made the best call of the entire race was Jonathan Wright for making that no pit call at the end of that thing. Was wanting that caution right to come out, and it did, and put him on the freshest tires, put him in the best scenario to get this win, and he did it.
Yeah, I think this race was definitely won from that strategy call of staying out there a little longer than everybody else. And while everyone was coming in trying to hurry up getting the tires, he was one of the only ones with Charlie Birch. He's going to get a good finish, P6. But those two are the only ones to say, you know what? We're going to try something different, and we're just going to go and see what happens. And it paid off.
It's a great point. An awesome win for Jonathan Wright. I can guarantee he's going to love to hear this. So obviously P2 is Joseph Mealy. Great job for him. A lot of support here in the chat as well. So love to see that for him. We'll talk to him as well, obviously. And then Josh Larson, obviously a very emotional week for him. We'll talk to him, see how his family's doing. For P3, P4, Thomas Meeks, great run for him. Clinton Woodby in P5. Some notables for sure. Mark Whitley, obviously after the incident there with 20 to go, comes home P7, so not bad. Definitely some good points there, but obviously not what he wanted for sure. And then as far as Nick Lights, also involved, P15 for him, finishes the worst out of all the playoff drivers. So definitely some notables for sure. We're going to go talk to some sponsors real quick. We'll come back and talk to our top 3. All right, folks, we are back here for the Throwback Truck Race at Darlington, sponsored by Harpoon Design for the Harpoon Design Truck Series. Great job by them. Listen, if you guys need any kind of paint at all for iRacing, for, well, I guess just iRacing, listen, go to harpoondesign.com. Go check them out. Some of the best work on iRacing. In my personal opinion, my favorite for sure. And listen, you will not be disappointed. Big thanks also to Young's Auto Center. Go and check them out. Flem Dogs Auto Repair and Admin Box. Go check those out as well. Big fans of all of them for sure. Right now, we're going to bring in our top 3. We're going to bring in probably our 3rd place finisher first. Just go back to forward as we always like to do. So let's bring in Josh Larson here. Hey, Josh Larson, man. Steve and Frank in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Hey, dude. Well, hey, awesome job. P3, obviously. I mean, had a fast car all day, it seemed like. I mean, we talked to you after stage 1 and looked pretty good. Had a great stage 2, led a bunch of laps. Obviously, we saw you hit the wall there and kind of kiss it. That led right, kind of take over that stage 2. But awesome race, podium finish, great playoff points. How do you feel?
Good. I wanted to come in tonight and just get points. That's what it comes down to. Get on to the next round. Yeah, we kissed the wall. I got some damage. I can see my right front fender. I had like 45 seconds of repairs on it. We decided just to keep track position and not fix it. And
yeah.
It bit us in speed, but track position was just so important.
It looked at the entire time. I actually notated that to Frank. I'm like, he didn't fix his damage, and he had to have. I mean, obviously, he had to have some, and now we know. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we saw how hard it was to pass. I mean, guys who were maybe clearly faster were struggling for sure, and tires obviously were falling off left and right. So, but hey, either way, top 3, fantastic job. Love to hear it. Hey, listen, at the same time, I mean, next week Bristol, lot going on there. as it always is, but today a lot of great stage points and playoff points that'll bounce you to potentially the next round. Bristol's not going to be as much of an issue per se at this point, maybe, but good run, man. Give us your shout outs and yeah, go for it.
Yeah, give me a great little buffer going into next week. Shout out to Rice Equipment Service, Flem Dogs, and MK2 Aerospace. Real quick, I want to say, Anthony, I love you, and asking for a silent prayer from everybody out there in the audience. Got some good news, not very good news today, and yeah, just need you guys' thoughts and prayers.
Yes, sir. Hey, listen, man, I mentioned it in the race earlier too, and I didn't go into the details, but listen, I mean, at at the end of the day, listen, we all might have our differences, on the track, off the track, but at the end of the day, it's community over competition. I've always preached that. And I know I'm praying for you. I know the chat's praying for you. We've mentioned it. Listen, man, we're here for you. I mean, the league, the broadcast, I mean, whatever. Obviously it's a small portion of our lives, right? But whatever we can do, we love it. It means a lot to us to hear these things. And we're going to support you, whatever that means. And, but at the end of the day, hey, P3 for Anthony, love to see it. Take that motivation,
Yep, sir.
Take that motivation, you just go to Bristol, kick some more ass. And then, hey, you know what? We might see you at Auto Club real damn soon. So,
Hell yeah.
Gonna be good, dude. We'll catch you next week for sure. And, hey, good. Just a great run tonight.
Hey, thanks guys. We'll talk to you later.
Alrighty. So that's Josh Larson there for P3. Awesome job. We're going to bring in Joseph Mealy right here. This is going to be a great conversation. I'm sure. I'm sure of it. Well, right now, 39 car, Joseph Mealy. Hey, man. How you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I am well. Listen, let's just talk about the positives first, okay? P2.
Yeah, go for it.
Great race. A lot of points. Obviously you entered the playoffs, not with a lot of, playoff points and whatever, but still very comfortable, I would say, especially after tonight. P2 finish, led a bunch of laps. Definitely can't be, it's your performance was great. I'll put it that way. But let's just talk about the elephant in the room. What in the hell happened on the exit of pit road?
Truthfully, I have no idea, and I've been sitting here at the start finish line. I haven't watched the replay. From my point of view, Whitley and I, we both knew that was the battle for the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And he cut it short, and I saw that, and I think I don't give him enough. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
I'm indifferent to it. I have no hard feelings about it. Truthfully, I don't care. If it's my fault, I definitely want to know. But as far as it goes, there's no bad blood between me and Whitley. We both want it just as bad as anybody else does out here, and that was two people going as hard as they could for a win.
100%.
And that's what happens. So, it is what it is, and the results are what they are. I don't have I don't have anything negative to say. Nothing.
Love to hear. You bring up a good point because at the end of the day, racing can happen anywhere on the track, and it just so happens that
right.
Coming out of pit road, that might be your opportunity, especially at a track like this where tonight it was trending where passing was so hard, tires were falling off left and right. So you know what? I guess I'm not surprised the more I think about it why the racing off the pit road was so tight.
If you go back and look at it, I think coming to pit road, and I don't know how much of a lead I had, but I know looking in my mirror, I had a substantial lead. And coming to pit road, Whitley gained so much time on me. It was absurd. It was insulting. And I knew I had to do good on pit road and getting off pit road. This man is gaining on me coming off the pit road. And I know this is my, clean air was so important. I did do all I had to do. So it's plausible. It's more than plausible that I came down on him and wrecked myself. I don't know. But like I said, when that kind of stuff happens, you go into defense mode and you gotta protect what you got. And that's what I did. And but aside from that, really good race. I could not be more disappointed to be second. But my gosh, I'm happy for Jonathan. He did a great job. As much as I hate that name, and thrilled to be second. I had a great time. This is my favorite racetrack, and as disappointing as second is, I couldn't be happier. I had the best time, and I'm really appreciative of it all. So
love that.
Absolutely. I had no complaints.
Cool, man.
Totally satisfied.
Much respect from you for sure. Obviously, we saw your teammate Nick Lights get involved in that too. I think he tried to. I think he tried to thread the needle there between you guys, and it might have just.
That you are exactly right. We talked about that. He tried for the needle, and it didn't quite work. And
but to your point, those things happen. You see an opportunity in front of you where leaders are wrecking or doing whatever the hell happened, and then hey, you know what? You got to try and make a move, scoot past it because the race was trending at the time with no cautions. We only
Well,
had that,
that's the
so
thing is, yeah.
you just never
Yeah,
know.
I'm glad I could be the only one. Thank you. I'm so glad. Um,
Yeah.
I'm glad I could be the only one. Thank you. I'm so glad. Um,
Well, hey man, give us
yeah,
your shout
no,
outs. Obviously a great
yeah.
race today for you. Either way, we're going to go to Bristol next week and wrap up this first stage or
Oh,
this first playoff round. But
yeah.
go ahead, man.
Well, yeah, shout outs for sure. Well, obviously, my teammate Nick Lights. Nick, appreciate you, buddy. Thank you. I'm sorry that the last few weeks have not been so great for our team, but we're going to win the championship. And my grandparents, my mom, Harrison, my roommate, my former roommate Christian, everybody who supports me. I love everybody and appreciate you giving us a space to race and have fun with all these guys. So
Yes, sir.
it means a lot. It means a lot to race this hard and to be this disappointed, but to be this happy and this satisfied.
Yeah.
I think that speaks a lot about how
Yeah.
much fun we're having here. So thank you.
Yes. I mean, hey, listen, I told Frankie it's a race that we're trending in the right direction. Obviously, cautions no one likes and a bunch of cautions, but hey, decent sizable field considering it's playoff time and only one caution for incidents. So honestly, if we have
Well,
a playoff run like that, then I am very, very happy. And it's a great crowd.
I'll leave you with one thing. As Mike Joy would say, that is our first caution for cause. All right. Have a great night.
Alrighty, man. Have a good night.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right. Always good talking to Joseph Mealy. P2 for today. Obviously disappointed, but I mean, Frankie, you can't blame him. But we're gonna bring in now the man of the hour of the day, probably of the season. I'm sure he's feeling real good. Jonathan Wright. Let's bring him in. Hey, Jonathan Wright, Steve and Frank in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Hey, man. I know you're feeling good. P1 on the day. One stage 2, obviously, with a little mishap by Josh Larson kissing the wall, but obviously passed him and nice and clean. How you feeling, dude? First win of the Harpoon Design Truck Series, first ever ASRA win. I mean, you got to be on cloud 9, right?
Man, I'll tell you what. I was fast all night. I had really good long run speed, and man, I'm jacked up over that. It's been a long time since I won me a race, and God, I won me one.
I'll tell you what, I was telling Frankie, and Frankie, maybe you can talk on this too, but I feel like you won the race when that last caution came out, which was major, by the way. I don't know if you saw what happened, but all the leaders being involved in a wreck off of pit road. But you deciding to not pit immediately, you kind of held out a little bit. I'm guessing you wanted a caution, and it came. And I mean, what was your psyche at that point? Like was that what you were trying to go for? What was the game plan?
Well, my original plan was, I had speed. I thought I had speed enough to run with them, and I could win the race. But it was just hard to pass, and I knew how fast those guys were. So my plan was to run a little long, maybe get a tire advantage coming out, kind of like what you see Denny Hamlin do, maybe at like a Richmond or somewhere in the Cup, and go that route. And I was had a half a lap of fuel left, and the caution came out, and I was like, I just won this race because I knew they were going to get the wave around, but I knew I was going to have fresher tires by 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah,
and I just kind of baited Larson at the end of stage 2, and then I baited Mealy on the initial start. At the end of the race there, I hit 7 to go, and I was like, all right, it's time to hit the afterburner, and I just kind of drove away from him.
Hey, and that's no small feat too. I mean, you're driving away from Joseph Mealy, who's obviously a well-established truck driver here in this series. I mean, obviously, it beat the best of the best, Nick Lights, Mark Whitley. Granted, they had their own issues throughout the race, but you had faster pace than them, and that's really something cool that we've mentioned really throughout the race, Frankie. As far as guys who you might not necessarily see leading a race or top 3 per se, but you guys were putting on a show, and when the playoffs start is you showed up and you showed out. So it's really, really cool to see, man. But hey, your first win, Bristol next week, you can pretty much not even worry about because you advanced past it, and it's really, really cool to see.
Yeah, that's man, I don't know what it is about these playoffs, and I tend to show up and start winning when the playoffs come around, so maybe we can keep that going. And it was really good. I felt like I had enough pace to outrun them either way on long run speed alone. So I don't know. I've had speed all year, but I had a clean race tonight, and that was the biggest thing. Is I didn't hit the wall. I didn't have any incident points or anything like that, and just clean truck, and it was fast. And thank my team and Charles and Michael. Michael had a little bit of bad luck there at the end, but he's
Yeah.
really fast. He's going to get it turned around. And just, man, that's awesome.
Love that. Love seeing ABR get their first win of the season. So really, really cool, man. Hey, listen, next week again, like I said, Bristol, you can forget about it. it's
Yeah, well, I love that place, but I tend to do really well there. So I'm going to go try to win me another one.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Going back to back. That's the mentality, right? Once it rains, it pours, man. So
Yeah,
love to see it.
Them playoff points.
Yes, sir. That's a great point. Well, hey, speaking of which, you're going to have 5 entering, actually 6, excuse me, because you won the stage 2, 6 playoff points just like that into the next round. So that's going to be massive, considering it's how most people don't have any playoff points. So that puts you at a huge advantage amongst these guys. So really great run for you. But yeah, man, we'll talk to you next week at Bristol. Great run again, winning stage 2 in the race for your first time. We'll catch you next week. Go celebrate.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Y'all had a good night.
All right, Frankie. Hey, man. I mean, that was a really good race. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, we had one caution. Obviously, it was, involving arguably the 3 biggest of the series, just to put bluntly, as far as, results wise and race wins and et cetera. So when you see that and you see, all these guys, right? Like, I mean, and that's not to take away from these guys, right? I mean, like Josh Larson, Jonathan Wright, Thomas Meeks, Clinton Woodby, they were all having very, very good races, and they were ahead of these guys a lot of the time. So this race was great for me personally because, again, we had one caution for incident, and we're seeing guys who aren't normally up front. So it really makes me think, you know what? These next 4 races to wrap up these playoffs could be pretty incredible.
Yeah, obviously, if the rest of these playoffs, or should I say, if this race was any indication of what these playoffs be, I'll be pretty excited as a broadcaster. We had really good racing today, even though it was hard to pass. It didn't seem impossible, and you saw the guys who flexed their muscle, got to the front, and got to the front with authority, like John Wright, Joseph Mealy, Josh Larson, and one caution for incidents. I think drivers like that, the least amount of cautions as possible.
Yeah,
I think mostly everybody likes that. So, what isn't there to like about this race, honestly?
I mean, listen, it's Darlington. It's an amazing venue. I mean, to win your first race for Jonathan Wright at a place like Darlington, I mean, it's obviously an incredible feat. Frankie, you won this race in the Cup Series last season 3, which, by the way, little plug for Thursday, we're going to have the Wheels America Cup Series here at Darlington for their Throwback Thursday race. Again, first race of the playoffs as well for them too. So that'll be Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Really, really cool for that. A lot of guys going to be vying for, again, just their, championship playoff hopes and all kinds of stuff going on there. So really, really cool to see. But tonight, I mean, Jonathan Wright gets it done at a historic place, gets those 6 playoff points. It's massive. That's massive for him, especially for a guy who's not, one of those big 3 drivers who's winning a lot this season. Listen, they're all the boys are coming up to play, and it's really, really cool to see. So we're happy to see that. Next week, again, we're going to be in Bristol for the Truck Series. This Thursday, we'll be here as well on the channel at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time again for the Wheels America Cup Series. Again, here at Darlington for the first race of the playoffs. Frankie, any last thoughts?
Honestly, no, not really. See y'all next week, and whoever's coming to watch the Thursday Cup race. Personally, I hope I can repeat it, honestly, and maybe show some dominance.
It's going to be a great time, Frankie. I cannot wait for that. Folks, we'll see you again next week. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We would appreciate that. Later on in the playoffs, we are going to start to do a lot more dual streaming. We didn't do that today just because I'm trying to work out some issues on the Twitch side. Apparently last week when we tried it, it was all blacked out. So still working on that. We had a break week last week, so I've kind of been a little lazy, not going to lie. But we'll be back next week. And again, this week, Thursday, for the Cup Series. We'll catch you guys next time. We appreciate you. Love you. Have a good night.